In our final video, we're going to learn to create a table within Excel and then sort and filter the information in that table. If you'll notice, there's a lot of information here on the entire spreadsheet, but in this section right here, from A5 down to G13, we're working with kind of some consistent information. We have our sales rep names, we have where they're located, we have bits of data that are the same for each sales rep. When we have the same bits of information available for multiple different people or items, we consider that a record. This record of Brenda provides a lot of information for us, and it's the same information that we're going to get for Grace and Jose and David, etc. When we have a section of our spreadsheet set up such as this, we can identify it as a table. And then once we identify it as a table, we can start manipulating that data by sorting it and filtering it. So the first thing you want to do is just position yourself somewhere in this section. You don't even have to highlight it. You're going to go to the Insert tab, and we're going to choose Table. It's on the left-hand side of the ribbon. Choose Table, and it says, is this the group that you want to work with? Well, yep, A5 down to G13. It kind of made an intellectual decision there that all of these seem to be using the same information, so this might be the table that you're wanting to work with. If it's not, you can always change it, but we're going to, and notice I have a check mark. My table has headers. That means it's going to refer to this first top row as headers, and I'm going to simply click OK. When I do that, notice that it changed styles. Okay, you can change your style. You can change it by going up to your Table tab now. Oops. And before you didn't have a Table tab. When you're not on it, it's gone. When you're on it, you have a Table tab. Click on the Table tab, and over here we have a number of different styles that you can choose from. I'm going to choose Blue Table Style Light 9. It's in the second row, third one in. And notice that my every other light blue lines went away. You can choose any style that you want. After we've created the table, notice that the headings now all have little arrows next to them. Those arrows, down arrows, are going to allow us to do some sorting and some filtering. The first thing we're going to do is actually add one extra line to our table. While you're on the table, on your Table tab, I want you to click the button that says Total Row. Watch what happens. When I click the total row, it actually added another row to my table. It put a total in my last column. That inserted a function that totaled all of my commissions. If I want the same thing to happen across all the way to January, I can simply take my autofill button. It's in the bottom right-hand corner of the commission total, and I can actually drag backwards and it will autofill backwards. Oops, look what happened here. I have all sorts of numbers. That means that my column is not wide enough for my values that ended up in there. I just simply have to widen it a little bit, and it allows me to see all of the numbers. The next thing we're going to do is sort our states in ascending order. Ascending is from 1 to the largest number or from A to Z. If I go to States and I use my down arrow next to State, I have sorting options at the top. If I want it to start with the first letter of the alphabet and then work its way down, I'm going to use ascending. If I want to start with the last letter of the alphabet and work its way up, I'm going to use descending. And click ascending, and notice that I have Arizona at the top. It did not just switch the dates. I'm going to do a undo here. Here we have Jerome in Arizona. He's going to end up on the top of my list when I sort it. Notice that all of his information, 17,896, his total commission of 2,553, 453, they're all going to travel with him. When I sort my state in ascending order, I can then click that. Notice that Jerome and his sales and his commission all came along with the state. Also notice that next to the state, my arrow has changed a little bit. That icon right there indicates that it has been sorted in some way. I want you to go to the Sort button. I want you to go to the Data tab. And we can now sort in more than one column. If you click the Sort button, you now have a dialog box that says right now it's being sorted by state. And that's great. We want to keep it in that. But within the state, notice I have 3 Californias and 2 Washingtons. Within the state, I want to sort it. So I'm going to use the plus symbol here, choose Then By, and we're going to sort it by commission. Actually, let's do total sales less return. And notice that it's going from the smallest to the largest, but I want to see who made the largest commission within each state. So I'm going to change that to largest to smallest. And then I'm going to click OK. Watch what happens down here when I click OK. We get a few things change. This stayed the same. Arizona to Washington, that was my first sort. Now I'm going to be concerned just with the Californias. Within the Californias, I have my largest total sales, then my next one, and then the smallest. Within Washington, it rearranged a little bit so that Sally, who had the most sales, was on top, and then David followed her. You can have a number of different sorts. Once again, we have some sort buttons up there. At any time, you could add any number of different sorts, but it's always going to be within the category above it. The last thing I want to show you is how to filter data. Filtering takes away some of the records, not permanently, just temporarily. If I don't want to see all of the states, maybe I am just concerned with California and Washington, I can create a filter by clicking on that same button again. And notice that it says all of these are selected. If I click the Select All and choose just California and Washington, notice that the other states went away. At any point, I can always bring them back. But for this assignment, I want you to just show me California and Washington. In addition, we can filter it using some of these other options up here. I'm going to keep the California and Washington in there, but under total sales less returns, click on that one. And I only want to see individuals that have made less than 50,000. So over here on my choose one, I'm going to choose less than, and then I get to type in the amount that I want it to be less than. Don't put any commas in there, just keep it simple. And notice that a couple of our, or one sales rep went off the list because they made more than 50,000. This is what you're going to turn into me for your final project. Go ahead and save it. And then this is what you will upload.